Hello, welcome to Wool Monkey and welcome to the absolute beginner lesson on how to do the basic chain stitch. So you will need a ball of yarn and a hook, and any kind of standard double knitting or worsted weight or Aran weight will do, and a crochet hook. This is a 4.5mm. You could use a 4mm or a 5, something like that, and then we can get started. Right, so first you're going to need to attach your yarn to your hook. So you can do this by either making a slip knot, which is a knot which slides up and down your yarn, or just a straightforward knotted loop. Put that onto your hook like that. Make sure it's on this wide part of your hook here, not the narrow part that's at the end of your hook underneath the actual hook, because otherwise your work will end up being really tight if you work on this little bit here. Now, it doesn't matter if you're right-handed or left-handed. If you're right-handed, your hook is going to go in your right hand, and you can either hold it a little bit like a pencil, or some people prefer to hold it like this. It's up to you. Experiment and see what feels comfortable for you. And then your yarn goes in your left hand. If you're left-handed, then everything's the same. It's just the opposite way round. Chain stitch is a very small stitch, but it's pretty fundamental to crochet. You use it an awful lot, so it's a good idea to get the hang of this first. Okay, so all we're going to do is wrap the yarn around the hook, and this goes from the back to the front, and then take hold of your work or your knot just underneath your hook there, and then you can slide the hook along, catching the yarn and pulling it through the loop that was already on your hook to give you a new loop, and that's your first chain stitch done. So let's do that again. So your yarn is wrapped around your hook, around the back to the front. Always in crochet you wrap from the back to the front, and then take hold of the work or the knot and the stitch that you've just done with your thumb and your first finger on your left hand, and you're going to slide your hook along, catching the yarn under the hook and bringing it through that loop. And there's another chain stitch. Okay, one more. Wrap it round from back to front, take hold of your work and slide it through. So there are things you can do that make this easier for you. So if you notice, I've trapped the tail of the yarn here and the work in between the little finger and the ring finger on my right hand, and this just helps give you a little bit of tension on that side. And the yarn that comes out of your left hand is going to be wrapped around your fingers so that it's tight, but it can slide through your hand. Okay. And when we do the stitch, so we wrap the yarn round and then take hold of your work here so that you can make the loop on your hook bigger or smaller. So if I pull this, it makes that loop bigger, and then if we pull this, it makes that loop smaller. So the idea is to keep the tension balanced somewhere between the two, so that you pull down here and pull here to make it easier. Opens up that loop on the hook there, so you can slide your hook through. And what you might find is, as a beginner, you'll either do your stitches too loose or too tight. So if you do them too loose, wrap your yarn, you may be pulling this stitch a little bit too big, and you end up with big baggy stitches like this, which are not ideal. They're not very neat particularly. Or you might end up with your stitches too tight. So if you pull with the yarn in your left hand too hard, then it closes up this stitch, this hook loop on the hook. So when you try to bring your hook through, it becomes incredibly hard work. Okay, so then you need to lengthen it by pulling down with your thumb and your forefinger here to open it slightly to make it slightly easier. So it's about getting the balance of tightness, and the only way to do that is to practice. So we'll just do a couple more. So wrap from back to front, take hold of your work, thumb and first finger, pull it down, slide the hook through, catching the yarn to make a new stitch. wrap and slide it through, and they are chain stitches. So off you go, practice some of those. When you get the hang of those, you can come back and we'll teach you how to do the next crochet stitch, which is the double crochet, or single crochet if you're using American terms. I hope that makes sense. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.